appear in the debut for our graphic novel Mad Science, releasing in the early part of next year. Now I wanted to go ahead and just share with you, when you're creating a character, a lot of times you want to have their physical appearance sometimes help with mapping out the overall character that you're coming up with. So for this guy, he's a little bit more on the reserved side, a bit more of an anxious type character. So I wanted to convey that in his eyes and his body posture and whatnot. So if you do see his eyes, they're kind of wide, and he's a little more on the reserved side. So a little bit of a pushover, maybe even. But that's just something that I try to keep in mind when coming up with a character is when I'm drawing their actual appearance, is there any way that I can actually convey to the audience some of that person's or thing's character. For colors, we're going to go with something a little bit more of a darker green, and I'm thinking maybe as for the shirt, maybe more of a tan. The base that they actually operate in this story is set out in a desert and a wasteland, so I want to have colors that actually kind of match more of that. So the greens and the tans, I think, will actually complement that whole environment that they're actually located in. Remember, when you're coming up with characters, you want to have fun. You don't have to draw your characters in one size or one sort of shape. As for instance, for this guy, he's a little bit more on the portly side, and again, that helps your overall world. You don't want everyone to look the same. I think that it's best a lot of times if you take inspiration from life, so you want to imitate that in your work. Now for this next guy here, he's going to be more of a bully type character, very brash, very arrogant. The colors that I'm thinking of going with are a bit of the same that I did with the last guy. Remember before in our last video we were talking about dropping your gray tones first before you go about coloring your picture, and that can help you sometimes with setting your light direction and so on to help your overall piece pop. Remember, when you set those tones, those grayscales on there first before you color, that really can help with bringing out your picture even more. So again, the same colors that we used for the last guy, we're going to do for this one here. And again, you can see some of his character, the shadow under his eyes, the big cheese grin that he has holding a cigar while he's smoking, arms folded, just kind of helps bring the overall aspect of the type of character that he is. So I would say also, when you're going about designing a character, it helps a lot of times if you are able to watch maybe a movie. And it's nothing wrong with getting inspired by a movie or reading a book. Many times that's honestly what I did when I needed to have a bit of inspiration, or if I needed a shot of inspiration, I would turn to those type of things. Then I was playing with the colors earlier to see maybe if I wanted to go with maybe a blue color or something around that shade. But I think ultimately what I decided to do was to stay with the green and the tan. And again, overall, that's because of the area and the location that they're in. It's set in a wasteland. It's like a maximum security prison that these two guys work for. Who's in that prison, that will soon be revealed as I go ahead and get these chapters released for Mad Science. I know a lot of times it's easy to get discouraged. It takes a while to develop your own style and to kind of find your footing as an artist or even a writer. And again, it's not a something that can just be obtained easily. It definitely takes dedication. But I just want to definitely encourage each and every one of you to, continue pushing, continue to stay inspired, and just know that, we're all up on this road together. And even if sometimes if it feels difficult and you can't come up with the design that you really have in your head, because sometimes that's difficult to be able to place your idea or your imagination on that canvas or that piece of paper. So if it seems to be too much sometimes, take a break, take a breath, leave, come back, and try it again. And also at the same time, you have to be able to give your mind's eye time to rest and develop. It's almost like a muscle, so to speak. So when you're working on something and it just doesn't seem to come out the way that you want, it is needed sometimes to take a break. Take a break, watch a movie, read a comic book, read a book, watch a show. If you have a favorite anime, check that out. I even recommend also, outside of just anime, just to watch movies in general. A lot of times when you're watching movies, you can see really cool composition and even writing. There's a lot of dynamics and things to pull from that to help inspire you as an artist. Because at the end of the day, even though we're drawing comics, they aren't too different from movies or a TV show. So that it definitely helps to be able to look at that and find something that inspires you. So right now I'm just going in and filling in some effects here for the smoke for this guy here. Things that help with creating strong characters is the line definition. The more line work I'd say that you have that goes on in a character's face, the more defined that character actually looks. If you want to make a character that's not as defined, then again, you put less lines in that character's face to give them off a lot of times more of a youthful appearance. Those are techniques that you can use in order to convey that. But yeah, if you definitely enjoyed this video, I would say go ahead and give it a like and a follow, or subscribe as well if you did enjoy.